A segment of this video is sponsored by Bighorn Outdoors. More on that later. This is a rusty skillet. But it's not just any rusty skillet. I intentionally rusted this lodge in my quest for the perfect seasoning. This time, I'm experimenting with a method called rust bluing. A few months ago, I bought 4 Lodge 8-inch skillets to experiment on. I gave them each a rough sanding to somewhat smooth out the peaks while leaving some texture and pits in the surface. Just the random orbit sander. 10 minutes with the quality Diablo sandpaper. Now my goal is to create an even coat of rust on the bare iron. I convert that red rust to black rust or magnetite with boiling water or steam, washing off the loose remnants and then carding the surface clean with steel wool. Then I repeat the process 5 times in total before seasoning. Will rust bluing be the key to creating that perfect, dark, durable, and non-stick seasoning that we seek? I went more in depth about bluing itself and the skillet chemistry in my last 2 videos, so check those out next if you haven't seen them yet. Some chefs have testified to getting good results with this rust bluing method on carbon steel, but I haven't been able to find anybody online who's tried this and shared the results on cast iron. Cast iron does have a somewhat different metallurgic makeup. It contains about 2 to 4% carbon, and at those concentrations, the carbon precipitates into graphite flakes within the iron matrix. Carbon steel, despite the name, only has about 1% carbon, and at that concentration, it does not create those graphite flakes at any significant quantity. Hi. The last time I mentioned rust bluing, I was having trouble getting all the red rust to convert effectively to black rust. And I thought this might just be because that graphite flake presence just makes this process less effective on cast iron than carbon steel. Thankfully, I gave it more time and refined my process. But let's talk about why you would do this. There's 2 main reasons. First, you're like me and took on a DIY project to make your rough, modern skillet a little smoother. You sanded down the surface, and now you want to prepare that raw iron to build a strong seasoning. Or second, no matter what you do, you just can't get your skillet to hold a good seasoning layer. You've tried all the basic advice, different oils, different baking temperatures and times, trying to get that seasoning layer to stick, and nothing's working. In this case, you'll want to remove all the seasoning and get down to bare iron first. You can use lye, Easy Off oven cleaner, which is lye based, electrolysis if you're a real pro, or a wire wheel if you're willing to take a power tool to your cookware. At this point, you don't want any oil or contaminants on the iron, so if you think there might be, just use acetone or rubbing alcohol to cleanse it. Then you want to get a nice, even coat of rust. And not just a little rust, quite a lot of rust. The old-fashioned way to do this is with water. As we all know, bare iron and water is a bad combination because things will get rusty. But for us, that makes it a good combination. If you're just working on the cooking surface and don't care about the walls, then add just enough water to coat that surface. Cover it in plastic to slow evaporation, and let it sit for at least 6 hours, but even better, overnight. If you add too much water here, then you'll only get a little bit of surface rust. I think this is because oxygen isn't able to efficiently penetrate a thicker water layer and diffuse to the iron surface. But regardless of the underlying physics, keep that layer thin. If you want to get the walls as well, you can try a damp paper towel. Cut it to size and ensure that it's in even contact all around before covering it. Use one with as little texture as possible though, or else you'll end up with patterned rust like this. You might even try printer paper, or an old cotton t-shirt actually might be best. Though I didn't bother, since there is a different method of doing this that leverages chemistry to make things go quite a bit faster. And since you need to do this process at least 3 to 4 times for each skillet that you're working on, it was worth it for me to use the chemical method. This part of the video is sponsored by Bighorn Outdoors. A couple years ago, I started getting into making my own pizzas from scratch. I found my pizza guru on YouTube, Vito Jacopelli.
That's what I'm talking about. It's soft and crunchy.
He taught me most everything I know about pizza, and I started getting pretty good results in my home oven with a pizza stone. But the only true way to cook a proper pizza, especially a Neapolitan pizza, is in a very hot oven. I'm talking 800 to 900 degrees Fahrenheit, far above what the average kitchen oven is capable of. Most at-home pizza ovens cost $500 to thousands of dollars and take up a lot of room. But Bighorn provides a product at the perfect intersection of quality and affordability. With the best deals you'll find in the description of this video, you'll be paying a lot less than that. Bighorn offers ovens with multiple fuel options: gas, wood pellet, or electric. They offer a 16-inch version too, but actually this 12-inch is the perfect size for my Neapolitan pizzas. I love that it's portable and packs away well when I don't need it. I can take it on camping trips, picnics, to my family's houses, or of course cook easily in my own backyard. This oven is versatile and honestly pretty awesome. And it does more than just pizza. They're great for steaks, roasted vegetables, whole fish, skewers, stuffed mushrooms, and much more. You can also achieve next level baking with an oven like this. Many breads like naan, focaccia, baguettes, and boules need more than a standard kitchen oven to reach their full potential. Thanks to Bighorn Outdoors for supporting the channel. Use the links in the description and pinned comment to check them out for yourselves. Now back to the video. The solution I used that works well has 3 ingredients. 1 cup of 3% strength hydrogen peroxide, 1/4 cup 5% acidity white vinegar, and 30 grams of non-iodized salt. You can also reduce the recipe if you need less. Stir to dissolve the salt. Grab a few cotton balls and use gloves. It's not a big deal really if this gets on your skin, but it is caustic and better avoided. Then spoon in some of your solution to your room temperature pan and swirl it around by the handle to cover everywhere you want to treat. Or use those cotton balls to apply it evenly up the walls. After a few minutes, rinse it out with water, but don't scrub. You should be left with a nice even coat of rust. One mistake I made when starting this process was just to put a little bit of the rusting solution on a cotton ball and wipe it on, but that would just evaporate very quickly. It would cause a little bit of rusting, but not nearly as much as we need. You really need to pour in enough of that rusting fluid that it's sitting on the surface. You can swirl it around and just let it sit and work its magic for a few minutes. Whatever your chosen method, now we convert this red rust to black rust with boiling water. You can boil water directly in your skillet or submerge your skillet in already boiling water, which seems to work a bit better, especially when rotated upside down. Some people tell you that this takes just a few minutes, while other sources say to boil for up to an hour. I actually found I got better and more even results by steaming. I used an appropriately sized stainless steel pot or pan to boil the water, then used the skillet as a lid basically. Ensure that there's enough water in there that you don't run dry. You also want the water high enough that it's boiling fairly close to the iron. About 5 minutes of steaming seemed to be enough. No need to let it cool. We can take it directly to the sink and wash with cool water, scrubbing with a soft sponge. Then dry and scrub with a paper towel. Damn. Wipe off the loose stuff and... Finally, take some fine steel wool, like quadruple zero grade, and card the surface to remove the remaining loose particles that won't be helpful for us. Much like with the vinegar simmer method that you've seen me talk about before, we're accomplishing a few different things here. First, we are corroding thousands of tiny little pits into the surface of the iron, adding microscopic texture to that surface. Number 2, that corrosion also releases loose carbon that was locked into the iron matrix previously. And as I covered in my last video, it seems that the presence of that loose carbon is essential to creating a truly non-stick seasoning. And 3, we are creating magnetite, which acts like Velcro between your iron surface and the eventual layer of polymerized oil that is your seasoning. Once finished with the rust bluing, I gave it 4 cycles of seasoning, and voila, our finished skillet. Would you two stop making so much noise back here? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. After doing all this, I really wanted to be able to come here and tell you that there were great results and that it was worth the time. And it was. I've been cooking on this skillet for a bit more than a week now, and it performs great. Seasoning is very durable, quite non-stick, beautiful, glossy, but has that microscopic texture that we've talked about. Sometimes I'll test a process for seasoning, and within that first cook, I can tell it's a failure. The seasoning quickly becomes splotchy, and I can see right through to the bare iron. Not so this time. The seasoning seems top-notch. Is rust bluing, though, more effective, creating better results than vinegar bluing? Too soon to tell. They seem to create about an equal end result. And that makes sense because both are accomplishing those three things we talked about. They are etching the surface, corroding in some microscopic texture, they're releasing that loose carbon, and they're forming magnetite. I did test both of these methods also on skillets that were polished extremely smooth so that I could tell exactly what each method was doing to the surface in terms of texture. And both of these methods do work on these highly polished skillets. You don't need to leave that texture in the sanding process. It does take a little bit different approach in terms of the amount of rusting cycles or the amount of time under vinegar simmer. I'm going to go into more detail on working with the highly polished cast iron surfaces in a future video. But I can tell you that each of these methods creates a somewhat different microscopic texture in the iron. Rust seems to create deeper, larger pits, but they're less numerous than with the vinegar method. After seasoning though, the vinegar pits aren't really visible anymore, while the rust pitting still is. Again, for reference, this is about what these surfaces looked like before bluing. Smooth with very shallow scratches from the sandpaper. Good news. As promised, I've created a written guide complete with pictures and all the exact steps to do for bluing cast iron, both the vinegar method and the rust bluing method. It's available on my Google Drive, and you can get access. Just go down to the description or the pinned comment. You'll find a link to get access. You'll also get a chance to subscribe to my mailing list so I can let you know when new videos come out or I put new resources in that Google Drive. Once you're in there, those Google Docs are open for comments. So leave your comments with your observations, your questions, anything that's unclear, and we can all learn together and improve these resources. I've also uploaded a complete guide to sanding your cast iron in that same drive. Babe, can you stop knocking around? Don't touch the painting. I'll continue to live with these skillets, and over time it might become clear to me that one method produces better results than the other. For now, they seem about even in terms of cooking performance. I will say the vinegar simmer method is still quicker and easier, and probably the one I'd recommend at this stage. But the knowledge is yours, so if you want to experiment with either of these, you can get access to those guides and do your own experiments. Let us know what you learn. Now, I've gotten a lot of questions about whether these techniques work the same on carbon steel as they do on cast iron. I'm in the middle of experimenting with that, and that video is coming in the future. So subscribe and turn those notifications on to make sure that you don't miss it. For now, watch this video next, which covers my recommended sanding techniques. Previously, I promised you that I would be perfecting the process of polishing and seasoning modern rough cast iron skillets so that they would be more like the vintage skillets we all know and love. Y'all have given me a lot of input and ideas from the comments, and I'll be exploring a lot of those over the next couple of months using these 4 8-inch test skillets